Welcome to On the Record, a joint presentation of Central Washington University and the Daily Record. I'm Joanna Markell, the editor of the paper, here with President Jim Gaudino of Central Washington University. We'll be exploring some topics today that affect both Central and the community, and we'll be talking today about tuition, other things happening in the legislature, and the CWU master plan. And as always, we welcome viewer questions, and we'll give you information on how to submit them at the end of the broadcast. So I guess the legislature is in session right now. There's lots of discussion taking place right now about tuition.
There is.
And lots of bills going back and forth on that. What do you think of the legislature's efforts to hold down the cost of tuition right now?
I think it's wonderful. I mean, nobody wants increased tuition. Least of all university presidents, faculty, and staff. Nobody wants tuition. Now, I do think the legislature might have a fairly short memory. I think they're wondering why tuition has gone up so much. Well, it's a pretty straightforward answer, because state funds have left even faster. So the easiest way of controlling tuition is increase the state's support of higher education. Short of that, if the state doesn't support higher education, holding tuition down is going to mean less resources for the university, fewer services, fewer programs. So they have to be very careful in how they do it. But yeah, if they can, I mean, we're certainly, the 6 university presidents, I certainly am willing to, go the extra mile to work with them to find a way of keeping tuition low. It's a fundamental question of access. We're making, as a society, higher education is becoming inaccessible to so many of our students, and the only way to make it accessible in the current environment is for them to take out loans and cure debt, which is not good. So yeah, it's a good idea, but I think doing it in a kind of a cavalier way or an unthoughtful way could do harm to the institutions and therefore to the quality. I talk a lot on campus about not just the price of tuition, but the value that tuition gets, and we have to manage value, not just sticker price. So there are ways in which you could keep the sticker price low and also damage the value, and then it's not worth it. So it all has to be part of the equation, and I'm not sure in all the bills that are swirling around that they're as sophisticated as that.
Are there any that Central would prefer?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the one that the 6 university presidents proposed, that was part of the initial discussion, and that's basically looking at what the university needs to operate, what our kind of minimal level of operation is, then determining the tolerance for tuition, and then finding how much money still needs to be provided to the university by the state. That's what we look for. That is not to give the university everything they want, to really sit down and take a hard look. Central, for example, has done that look, and we need about $15 million more in the coming 2 years than we have today. If the state were able to provide for that, we would like nothing more than to leave tuition where it's at. If we can't do that, it's a balance. How much can they provide? How much tuition do we have to increase?
One of the other proposals had to do with differential tuition.
Yes, that's not of interest to Central. It really was more of an interest to the University of Washington. Some degrees are exceptionally expensive to provide. Engineering is a degree that's very, very expensive to provide. The nature of the laboratory equipment that you have to have. Faculty salaries are fairly large. If you have a faculty that is being asked to do research, the amount of time they have, in their day, the amount of time that is devoted to student education is small. So those programs are exceptionally expensive. So the thought is, and those, I should say, those careers are also fairly lucrative. Starting salaries are high. So if you have a high-cost degree with a high starting salary and a high potential for earning and almost guaranteed employment, because the job market is quite robust in engineering, then those should be higher tuition levels. Central has engineering, but we have a more teaching-oriented faculty, so we don't have to maintain the research environments for our faculty, to say the University of Washington does. So our cost of education there is not significantly higher than it is elsewhere on campus. So we've never been particularly interested in differential tuition.
And it's not something that's in place many places now, right?
No,
Yeah.
and in fact, the legislature, I think the general tenure of the legislature right now is opposing differential tuition. It puts the GIT program, the guaranteed tuition program, it begins to put that in not so much in jeopardy, but it begins to complicate the formulation of what you're going to be able to pull out of that program if your son or daughter is an engineer versus a music major. And that complicates things. So I think for some of those reasons, some of the legislators are somewhat reluctant to dive into that issue.
Central also has some capital project requests before the
Yes, we do.
legislature.
Yes, we do.
One of the big ones is the science building, and it
Correct.
sounded like students and staff have been lobbying lately.
We have been. We've been,
Olympia.
the faculty, staff, and students have been going to Olympia. We've also been bringing legislators to Ellensburg to see our existing facilities and to talk with faculty, students, and staff about what we need to do. It's primarily for our geology program and our physics programs. Our geology program is a landmark program at Central. Our physics program is very, very strong. And it's also the gateway to engineering. So, and that's a strong demand that the state has for more graduates in engineering. So, very, very important project. We were fortunate to have it rated the #1 project by Governor Gregoire. It appears that Governor Inslee is not going to have his own list of capital projects, that he just isn't time in the process to re-evaluate all those stacks and stacks and reams of information. So in the starting point, we're the #1 project, and so we want to make sure the legislature supports that project. Incredibly important to Central and really to Ellensburg and Kittitas County as well.
Yeah, is there anything other folks can do to help with that?
Contact your legislature, your legislators. I think it's very important that they know that a building like, we call it Science Phase 2. Our original science building, one of the larger buildings on our campus, was really supposed to be twice as large as it is. And the legislature then, I think about 15 years ago, said, don't have that kind of money, cut it in half, we'll fund the second half later. Well,
Now's the time.
Now's the time to do that. So, yeah, it's incredibly important. It's not just important for our students. As I said, it's an economic boon to the town, lots of jobs, workers that spend nights in town, workers that eat in town, sales tax dollars, permitting dollars. It's millions of dollars that comes to Ellensburg and the surrounding communities. But it's also, Central has a strong culture and practice of sharing our buildings and our faculty with community groups and with K-12, with elementary, junior high, and high school students. And this science building is designed specifically to be open to those educational groups. So it will be a resource for really all of Central Washington. So yes, contact your representative and your senator and say, we want Science Phase 2 at Central Washington University.
Okay. Anything else in the legislature people should know about at the moment?
I think those are the main things. I think the funding bills, of course, the operational funding is very, very important. I mean, that's really the stability of the university. It's our ability to maintain our employment and to keep our tuition low. So I would watch those very closely. I think if there was a message that the citizens should give their legislator, and that is not to harm the universities. We have been cut really down to the bone. So further cuts do damage. They will start to lessen the quality of education that we're able to provide our students. So we need to protect them. We're at a point now where we're at a resource that we need to protect.
And they're facing some challenges trying to get K through 12 education
Oh,
funded
there's
because
tremendous
of
challenges.
the
Yeah, there's budget
State Supreme
deficits,
Court, yeah.
that they're grappling with. There's requirements to increase K-12 funding, and of course, everybody has been cut so dramatically. So, but this, we kind of I see K-12 and higher education as a seed corn, and you really don't want to, throw the seed corn away. It's very, very important, not just to the present day economy, but to our future economy as well. So, protect higher education.
There's been some work done lately on the CWU master plan.
There are facilities master plan. There is. We every dozen years or so. Actually, our last master plan, I think, was done in 2008. So we are in the process of re-examining that plan, not starting from scratch, but taking a look at changes in our student population, changes in the environment, changes in the community, and republishing our master facilities plan. This year, we are taking extra steps to engage the community in doing that. Obviously, Central, exists in a community environment with traffic and houses and workplaces and so on, recreational areas. So we want to make sure that we're good citizens of our community. I don't know that we've always in the past fully integrated our plan into the community's plan. Or I should say the other way around. I think the community has integrated our plan into their planning, but we haven't always integrated the community's planning into ours. And Bill Yarwood, who is our Director of Facility Planning, is engaged in, he has a long list of meetings that he's engaging civic organizations in, from the Rotary clubs to the City Council to the school districts. And that will all, at the end of, and it's posted online, so you can find the master plan. There's a survey form there that lets you give comments directly to Bill Yarwood to incorporate your thoughts. And in this case, it's everything from the John Wayne Trail to the building of Science 2, to the location of residence halls, to traffic patterns, and so forth. So we're taking also a more, if you will, comprehensive look at our facilities than we have in the past.
One of the things that people have talked about over the past couple of years has been connections to downtown.
Yes.
And including you.
Yes.
How does that fit in there?
It does. It does. We would, part of the city's plan is to take 7th Street and ideally make it more of a pedestrian bicycling pathway. Obviously 8th Street, a lot of traffic. So finding ways of, and I'm kind of going north and east and west here, and the campus is north. So finding pathways for that connect the university with the town, that run more north and south, and finding ways of doing that through signage and lighting and making attractive walkways is a very important, I think, thing to do for both to take the campus people, students and faculty and staff, and make the transportation downtown inviting, the walk downtown, but vice versa, making sure that the people in town see the university as an asset, that they come. I'm always amazed at, I'll bump into someone, say at Fitterers Furniture, that I don't know, and I'll meet someone, they said, do you know that there's this gorgeous university just north of here? And I go, absolutely, I actually do know that. But they came to town for something, and wandering around find their way up north and see this. But they said, I've been here 5 or 6 times, and I didn't even know there was a university. So we need to share each other's resources a little bit better than we do now. And this plan is part of that effort.
And there was some integration between the city's comprehensive plan and this plan, possibly?
Well, we would like to do that, yeah. I mean, there'll be 2 plans, because we have different, if you will, governance and legal requirements for our planning. But we would like those plans to dovetail as much as they possibly can, so that we can get the synergy out of our joint efforts.
What about housing on campus? It seems to be a part of the plan. If you're going to be.
It is. Right now, we believe, one never knows, because it all has to do with the student population, but we believe we've completed our housing plan. I inherited from my predecessor a 30-year housing plan. We have about 20 years to run on that plan. Unless something changes, we're done building, and we will now continue to renovate. So we will not increase the total amount of housing. We don't have plans to demolish and rebuild. We have plans to renovate. We've in the past bonded our major construction projects. We've gone to the bond market, so we have debt on those, which are paid for by revenues. Our plan is to renovate through traditional operational cost, that is through annual revenues.
Also, I'm interested in the Brooks Library. That fits into the plan too.
Oh,
and
without
there's some
question.
plans to modernize it.
Transformation. We have a relative. 2 years she's been here. Dean Patricia Cutright. She's phenomenal. She's an exceptional leader of our library services, and libraries are changing. Like so much of the media is changing.
Excuse me.
Libraries used to be storage locations for books. Well, they still are, but students are looking at them really as learning environments. So they want to go there and bring their own devices and hook into the web, and they want to access digital databases. They want to read their periodicals, their journals. They want to read them online, not through stacks. They want to have printer access. They want to do group projects in them. So our library was built at a time when those demands weren't there. So if you've been in the Brooks Library, there's a lot of walls and segmented space to do different functions. We'd like to open all that up. We're in the process of doing that, but open that up, make it a more open environment, a more communicative environment, and then to input in there the kinds of technologies that we really knew. We've recently opened what we call it our Academic and Research Commons, the ARC. It's really cool. I mean, there's some high technology things in there. Smart boards that you can move objects around. Kind of if I'm getting old, I guess now, but one of the first Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise, he was moving objects around. Well, we have that technology in there. It's really cool. But we also have, if you look at some old technology, the tables that students sit at. For a long time, in the old days, they were oak, and then we kind of made Formica. Well, now they made whiteboards. They turn whiteboards up, put legs on them, so students can just write on the tables, and then wash them off with a towel. So everything from high-tech glass screens to tables that are whiteboards. Everything's on wheels, so students can scooch around on their chairs, form little groups. It's all going on but we do have a capital project for about $5 million, $4.9 million that would take that concept that we did in the Research Commons and expand it throughout the library.
And that's before the legislature as well?
That is also before the legislature. As is a new ROTC building. We have arguably one of the best, I would go out on a limb and say the best ROTC program in the country, here Army and Air Force. Our Army ROTC last year beat West Point in the Ranger competition, so they are excellent. They're housed in an old motel on the north side of campus that has some structural issues in it. We absolutely need to get them a new facility. So that's on our capital project as well.
Okay. Anything else folks should know about the CWU master plan?
Just find the list on our website is a list of the places that Bill Yarwood is going to be. Go to one of those meetings. If you can't get to one of those meetings, write your comments in. And there's going to be some open sessions in like the Mary Group Center and so forth where, the public can come to any of these, but these will be designed specifically for the public to come, see the plan, talk to us about the plan, and then give us input.
Okay. The other thing that's been talked about on the city side of things has been they're negotiating a new contract with Charter Cable.
Right.
And one of the things that's been discussed as part of that is ECTV. They've had an office here on campus. Maybe if you could explain where that's headed. It sounds like they may be moving possibly.
Well, they're in the library. So we've done some changes on our own campus. It used to be, we had, used to be up until a year or two ago in the good old days of traditional media, you thought of classroom technology as different than, say, the studio that we're now sitting in, which was yet different again from our information technologies. So it was silos based on kind of whether it was a computer or a TV screen or a library, for example. In today's world, it's all converged. So we've done some reorganization on our campus to try and get synergy and to get the professionals in these various media areas to work closer together, to share their expertise. Been marvelously successful on our campus. And so
I guess sorry to interrupt, but to explain, it's a community television station.
It's housed here.
It's not a central station.
It's not a central station. It's a community. So they were housed in the area that our classroom technology was housed. So as we move those folks around, it became, there they are. So they're still there, but we're wondering if that makes sense any longer. So we started the dialogue with the community. Should they be thinking about their use of technology in ways that benefit the community, just like we've done some of our reorganization to benefit our students, our faculty, and our staff. So that's where that's at. I think there's it's still up in the air as to how the city is going to engage with Charter and how they're going to manifest that. One of the things that I have found in my experience with media. This particular office was kind of hidden, you know, deep in the kind of the recesses of a library. We moved a lot of our resources out of the library to free up space to do other things. Hiding your main media operation in a building far from the community may not make the most sense. It may be better to have your television station, your cable station, you know, right in the heart of the city where people see it. It's kind of like having the Daily Record. I mean, there's a reason probably that you're located right in the heart of town on Main Street, rather than way on the outside of town. It becomes a physical reminder, a presence, and I think that's an important thing for the city to think about.
And I guess all of the public access stations are a part of this negotiation. The Central has two of its own public access, and it sounds like there hasn't been a lot of discussion about changes to those necessarily.
There has, not in this particular contract. I mean, I think we all need to think about what a cable station means in today's world. You know, if you talk to young people, they'll say, and most students will tell you that they don't watch television. Some students, they don't even own a television set. But then they'll right after that say, did you watch Jon Stewart last night? Of course, to someone my age, Jon Stewart is a television program brought to me by cable. But to them, they watch Jon Stewart on their laptop screen. So younger people, and I think even, you know, old guys like me are transitioning into the content is more important than the medium. The content is more important than the channel. So I think we need to ask ourselves, in the case of our own cable stations, but certainly with the Ellensburg channel, what's the content we want to deliver to our community members, and what's the best way of delivering that content? It might be through a cable channel, it might be through high-speed internet, it might be it might be the internet. I mean, you know, your own newspaper has, you know, has a lot of digital content, including photos and videos. So that we have to just, I think, just to say, where do you want to do with the channel, it may be the wrong question. What's the content, and then what's the channel to best distribute the content is a different way of phrasing it.
We have just a few moments left. I did want to ask maybe a couple more questions.
Sure.
And this could just be quick. Anything new on the discussion about this possible switch from the quarter system to the semester
It's in the hands of the faculty. The faculty are doing a study. They're doing a study. We've adopted a software program we call Go Central, which allows for community dialogue on campus. There's a very active dialogue going on about the pluses and minuses, the effort, the strengths and weaknesses, and that's still ongoing. So it's a study. It's no report, no conclusions made.
So discussions continue on that.
Discussions continue.
There is a big robotics tournament coming up on campus.
There's a huge robotics tournament on campus.
And there already have been some events.
We've had, if you will, kind of smaller competitions. Now we're heading to the bigger competition. It's exceptionally exciting. I mean, I strongly ask people, suggest people, come on over, take a look at it, volunteer to help on. The energy levels are phenomenal because you get just literally hundreds of young people in there doing, you know, manipulating the robots to do various things in kind of a sports environment. I mean, people, you know, wearing colored shirts for my team, and everybody's cheering and waving their arms, and it's just a whole lot of fun. We're proud to host it. It also brings, I mean, for the community, it's going to bring 1,000 families to our community for that day. So yeah, it's exciting. We have to do this every year.
Great.
Future scientists, future engineers.
The other thing is Central is also involved in the Apple Bowl academic tournament.
We do.
That's televised from here?
It's televised from right where you and I are sitting. You know, it's kind of like an old a college bowl when I was young, where our high school teams come and they're asked questions. They have usually a faculty coach that's helping them prepare, and the group that answers the most questions wins. And there's a first place, second place, third place. It's about a 30-year-old competition. We've been hosting it for maybe a dozen years, about a decade. We're very proud to do that. Actually, Ellensburg High School is they have the longest winning streak of any of the high schools. And this year, we've added something new. We're offering tuition waivers for the winning teams.
Wow.
Yeah. So we suddenly dawned on us, you have some of the brightest high school students in the state coming here. we should try and keep them here.
So that's coming up too.
That's coming up, yep, and very soon. Those are teams. I think there's going to be 18 teams here, and it's a narrowing up to the to the final round where we hope Ellensburg High School will again be in it. But whoever wins, may the best team win.
One more question.
Yes.
And the CWU mobile app, it sounds like folks from the university have been out talking to community groups about it.
We have been.
So people who don't know about this mobile app, it's out there.
If you have a mobile device, an Android phone, a Apple phone, or a Windows phone, you can go to your respective app stores. It's a free app. You can get all the information. There are schedules. There are of activities on campus. There are videos and photos and news stories and all the sort of things you'd expect. We also have a link to an app which shows the community activities. If you want to find a restaurant in town, you can go to that section of our app and click on restaurants and all the participating restaurants. It's connected with a service called Foursquare, and you can find all the restaurants or all the shops in the town of Ellensburg as well.
Okay.
So it's really a cool app.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
And it's free.
Yes, very important. Thank you very much for joining us for this edition of On the Record. I'm Joanna Markell, the editor of the Daily Record, here with President Jim Gaudino of Central Washington University. We welcome your questions. If you have a question for President Gaudino, feel free to submit it by posting it on the Daily Record's Facebook page or emailing newsroom@kvnews.com. Thank you.